Hi, I'm Everett Abrams, the Wizard of Wood. Today I'm going to cover a topic about hot water used to restore or to clean exterior wood surfaces. Do you need hot water, and should you use hot water? Well, again, we go back to the Facebook professors that are online, and if you ask in most forums or most groups and ask, should you use hot water on a deck or on a wood surface to clean or restore it, they're going to say, no, you should not. It can damage the wood and it raises the grain. And the truth is, it does raise the grain. Hot water will raise the grain. Okay, so what do we do? Do we use hot water or do we not? Let's get into it a little deeper and really take that a little bit further, because a lot of people, they just repeat what somebody else said without any meaning behind it. So if you leave it out there that hot water is bad for wood and you shouldn't do it, well then that's it. And it's not it. So let's get into that with this video. So we don't really need hot water. We need warm water if we're going to use it. Something around 120 degrees, probably not over 140, 120, 140. And sometimes there might be a reason to put a little hotter, but I'll get into that in a second. But most of the time we don't. So most of your deck cleaners, they don't really do much as far as heating up when you make them. So we've been doing this for a long time, where you're restoring wood with just, garden hose water or whatever. Just it's a mild temperature water. If you have it sitting around, it's just temperature. It's warming up from being outside. However, we start talking about stripping wood. The strippers will heat up the water in the container that you have. So you are going to be putting some warm water. It's going to heat it up. Now that's when we're stripping, and that kind of leads to the one thing that I'm going to talk about is, what are we doing with the wood? If we're just cleaning the wood, we really don't need warm water or hot water to just clean wood, to lightly restore it. If it just has growth or just grade, new wood, that kind of stuff. However, if we are stripping wood, that makes a huge difference, okay? Because guess what? This is what most people don't talk about. Strippers, some of the chemicals and products that we use, they raise the grain too, just like hot water does. So do we sit there and say, oh, don't use a stripper on wood? Yeah, you need to sometimes. We've got to get those old coatings off. If it's a failed coating, a coating that wasn't maintained well, maybe it's just the type of product that you use, you have to get that off. So those film formers. So if we're using a stripper, then the strippers and the chemicals and the products that we're using are going to raise the grain anyway. But nobody's sitting out there talking about that. That's number one. Number two, some of those solid coatings and those coatings that are on the wood, if you use hot or warm or hot water, it will help delaminate it from the wood. It actually helps it to pull away from the wood. So it's actually going to help you. So the first question you really need to ask is, what are we going to do with the wood? Before you say, oh, don't use hot water, don't use warm water. What are we doing? If we need to remove a coating and we're stripping it off, warm or hot water will help delaminate the coating from the wood, so it helps. And if you're going to raise the grain anyway with the stripper, who really cares about warm water at that point? Don't forget, we do media blast wood too, which changes the surface altogether, and then we have to prep it. So it's not like we don't do stuff to wood that's a little harsher than just raising the grain some. Now, obviously you don't want to raise the grain, but in some times it might be okay. Now, another one where it would be used in the cleaning process, if you have a dock or you're around a waterway, you're not allowed to put chemicals in the water. That's part of the Clean Water Act. It's a federal regulation. However, warm water will help get rid of some of the organic growth and so forth. So you might want to use that 120 to 140 or around 120 degree water for instance, where you can only use water. Just water and a little bit of pressure. And again, sometimes you're going to have to use pressure where we don't want to use pressure, just because we have to remove the growth if we're going to stain it or maintain it or whatever we have to do around a waterway. So the answer to the question is, does hot water raise the grain of the wood? Yes. Are there instances where warm water or hot water will help us? Yes. And I just explained those. So hopefully that answers a little bit further of when and why you would use warm water on deck or exterior wood restoration. I'm Everett Abrams, the Wizard of Wood, just trying to take these questions and so forth a little bit deeper and get a little bit more meaning behind those. So hope this one helps.